This side. All right, so I'm going to put you in and call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, welcome to our meeting for the Montecito City Council, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Technical issues have now been solved. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Anstandig?
Marshall? Hello?
Here?
Okay.
Here?
Councilmember Rogers?
Here.
Councilmember Turner? Here. Councilmember Wolsheimer?
Here.
And Mayor Craig?
Here. Okay, thank you. So for the orders of the day, I wanted to see if we can make a change, and we wanted to move item number 9. Nope, item number 11. Wanted to see if we could move that to right after the consent calendar. Are there any other changes or suggestions to changes for the orders of the day?
That's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to do that, please?
I make a motion that we move item number, what was it?
11.
Number 11, right after the consent calendar.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, so somebody needs to push the second button.
Oh, I got to
Second.
vote.
There we go.
Yeah.
And now our cool electronic voting system is going to
Mine
record our
isn't set.
vote.
What do I press here, Terry?
So, wait a second.
Oh, wait a sec, I still have to vote.
You gotta push your
It's,
voting.
yeah, it's connecting.
Turner?
I made a motion.
Right.
Where do I vote?
And now we'll have the vote.
Okay.
No.
I don't have a vote button.
Let's just kind of vote.
There we go. It will all be magically electronically recorded.
Okay, I have all the votes except for Councilmember Anstandig to move the
Yes.
orders. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Can you record the vote, please? Ta-da. That is how you move an item on our agenda. Looks like a wedding, and bride is well represented. Okay. So now that brings us to oral communications. At this point, anybody in the audience can speak on any item that is not on the agenda today. If you do have any questions, though, we are not able to address them during this time. So I don't have any speaker cards for this, but if anybody would like to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come forward. And yes, Supervisor Wasserman, thank you.
Thank you. I'll just take a quick 60 seconds to say how much I enjoy working with each and every one of you on various committees. What a great job you're doing with Montecito. And on behalf of the county and the Board of Supervisors, I thank you for all that you do for your residents, our residents. We share mutual constituents. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, do we have any written communications?
There are none, correct?
Only one that has to do with item number, the very last item.
This
number
one?
9.
One sentence.
In front of you. Number 10.
Okay, that's the email that's on
That's
our
the email.
desk, correct? Okay, thank you. And now that takes us to the consent calendar. So items 1 through 7. Is there anybody wishing to speak on any item that's on the consent calendar? I don't have any speaker cards. Seeing none. If somebody's already pushed the motion button. Or
I
they?
did.
Yeah.
Okay, waiting for a second. We have a motion and a second. Okay, and now we will vote, just like that.
I have all votes in except for Councilmember Anstandig for the consent calendar.
Yes.
Okay, and let's record the vote, please. Excellent.
Yep, passes
Okay.
5-0.
Thank you very much. So now that takes us to item number 11, which is the Youth Commission appointments for the 2018-2019 season, if we want to call it a season. Sounds like football, but so do we have a staff report to start us off?
I can give you.
Andrea's going to hand us.
Yes, thank you. I can give you a brief staff report. Basically, we have 15 seats available this year. The city received 18 applications actually 19 by the deadline. One was not within the jurisdiction. And then interest from 2 others afterwards. So you have 18 applications in front of you for 15 seats. You have kind of a mix of incumbents and newcomers. And I'd just like to point out that on your staff report, the incumbents have an asterisk by their name. We have one youth commissioner that was the city council's appointment to the Better Streets Commission, and that's for a term of 2 years, and that youth commissioner is Kusha Azim, and he has also applied for reappointment. That's basically my report.
Thank
You
you
have
very much.
many qualified, many impressive youth.
We had probably the best incoming class of youth commissioners that I have had the pleasure to see since I've been on this council, and I really want to take the time to thank everybody for being here. This is actually going to be the first time that we have had more applicants than we have seats. So I know a couple of you are going to be disappointed, and I would like to stress that just because you're not on the youth commission, that doesn't mean that you cannot participate, because this is a commission for the youth of Monte Sereno. And as time goes on, I expect it to get even bigger and bigger, where we're going to get to the point where we're going to have committees that are going to take care of certain events that we like to run throughout the year. And we do a number of community projects and participation with the youth commission. We will sign off on any service hours that you need to submit to your school. We'll also give you a letter of participation that shows that you have participated in the youth commission activities. And at this time, we have a number of the applicants that are here tonight, and I would like to, I guess we'll just start in the front row and ask any applicant who would like to come up and introduce themselves and say a few words to please come up and do so. So we'll start on my right-hand side, the left-hand side. Come on up. We are live.
Hello all to everyone who are here today. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So this past year, I was on our Monte Sereno Youth Commission, and I really loved being part of our goal and our city, and I just really loved the experience. And I really want to be reelected to the Monte Sereno Youth Commission because I just love working with our community. And currently, I actually run a not-for-profit organization called Shiro's Tech, where we teach girls aged 10 through 18 computer programming, and with the funds we collect, we actually donate that to a charity that helps the homeless in San Francisco. And in addition, this past year, I've actually been really actively involved with my school's student council and my school's leadership team, and I've just really loved, really trying to make a difference in our community and trying to make an impact. And I feel like Youth Commission is the perfect place to, really put my efforts into that. So I'd really love it if you guys would sincerely consider me to be part of our 2018-2019 Youth Commission, and just thank you for the opportunity for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You have to give us your
Oh my God, my bad. Yeah, my name's Kavya Narayan.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and next, come on up, introduce yourself, and
Hi. Okay. My name's Arushi. I've not been on the Youth Commission before, but this year I applied since I'm interested in law and public policy, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to get involved with my community, as I've been doing this past year in school with our journalism program. And I really want to give back to the community and learn more about what's going on, as well as gain exposure and work with other youth. Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity.
And why don't we just keep going across the front row? Come on up and.
Hello, my name is Christian Nizel. I haven't been on the youth committee, but I have gone to one of their one of their meetings, and I feel like I participated a little bit, even though I was not in the committee. But I feel like if I was on the committee, I would do a lot to help the city of Montecito by giving my advice and helping organize different events for this city. And I feel like it can really help the city of Montecito. So thank you for considering me, and hopefully I'll be on the youth commission. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I think that's the first row, so let's start with the second row. Alex?
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Nickel, and I'm going to keep this brief because you all know what I'm going to say. You all know the incredible dedication and passion the entire Youth Commission has for bettering Montecito, for loving Montecito. So I really just wanted to take this time to thank you all for giving us this wonderful opportunity. I would like to thank all of my fellow council members for the past 3 years. I joined 3 years ago in 8th grade, and it's been an incredibly valuable and I think an incredibly enriching experience, not only for the community, not only the good we've done for the community, but also for us as committee members. And I feel like I've added a lot to that, from my years of experience in my own school council to my role in creating educational YouTube videos for my channel Technicality, to all the stuff I've done for the Youth Commission, from planning to scheduling to being secretary last year. So once again, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Can we be in one of your vlogs?
Sure.
Whole session on the Youth Commission and
Yeah.
how technical we are.
Cool. Yeah, totally.
That's fun.
All right, I threw a curve at him. I'm sorry.
You did.
Monit? Go work.
Honorable Council members, I stand before you today as a historic member of the Youth Commission since the 8th grade. As a 4-year member, I truly believe that government work is work worth doing, and I wish to share this involvement with my fellow compatriots of the Montecito youth community. Doing and living the experience as a youth commission member, I have certainly gained an increased fascination for the public policy emanating in all sectors, extending into a student advisory board member for our Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, as a water stewardship committee member where I worked with individual members of the Santa Clara County to adopt the new desalination plant that was entering online in Monterey Bay. As a Boy Scout, as a member of the Boy Scouts of America, I have also ascertained a number of leadership positions that I believe will help me with this goal. I am now actually vice president of the Model UN Club of our school, and I further am going to increase my efforts into public policy. I sincerely thank you all for all the opportunity, for all the experience you have given me in government. I believe I am working with Councilmember Katie in the back with our Civics for Kids program, which is going to be online next year, to further educate our government involvement with kids in the Campbell High School. Again, I would like to have a heartwarming thank you for all members of this councilman for giving me the chance and opportunity to express myself in government work, which I believe is the most important in our local society. It's work worth doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, Councilmember Turner.
I love your passion.
But you should spoken up a little bit.
Come on up.
Hi, my name's Emily Needham, and I am interested in this because I actually have friends on my soccer team who are currently in the Los Gatos Youth Commission, and they say it's a really good experience, and they really enjoyed being a part of it. And actually, one of the girls, her mom was former mayor, and they just said it was a really good experience, and I really want to try to experience that. And not only that, but I noticed how the Youth Commission is a really good chance for not only adults to help the community, but also teenagers. And I think that's a really good idea, just to get us more into the community so we can help and play our part, which we should be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ajay Madala, and last year, actually 2 years ago, my friend and I decided that the presidential election was going on, and we need to do something about it. So he found his old 1920 coin, and we illegally ran it for president. So, and of course we lost, but it was a great experience to learn how kind of insane our political system is. But also, it was kind of fun to think maybe there's a way to fix this. And of course, we lost. So if I can lose a presidential election, I think I can do the youth commission.
Yep.
But seriously, I really care about policy and law and just making things better in our community. And I'm really looking. I want to make a difference. Last year, I used to make a talk show on YouTube, like a political talk show. I edited, wrote it, and starred on the entire thing. It didn't get many views, surprisingly, but I think that I have a lot to offer for this committee, and I have a lot of ideas.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jesse Liu. I'm interested in applying for this youth committee because I think I'm interested in political science, but not sure, so I want to get some experience. And I also love serving people. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Jessica Guardino, and I'm interested in being on the Youth Commission because I feel like I can help the city of Monte Sereno and serve our community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paige Craig, and I'm a former member of, I was on the Youth Commission last year. I feel like I have a lot to offer the Youth Commission, and I love participating in these kinds of things, and I've grown up in the area, and I would love to help it thrive and get the youth more involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ariani Amudi. I'm currently on the Youth Commission for this year, and over this past year, I've really fallen in love with this whole system. It's really great what we're doing for this town. I've grown up here, and it's really important to me that this community is nurtured and grows, and I just love it here. And I'm really excited to go further with the Youth Commission, should you guys give me the opportunity. And I really think that the Drive 25 Keep Kids Alive program is really important, and I want to see that continue to grow in our town. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Caitlin.
Hello, my name is Kate Mekachuk, and I want to be on the Monte Sereno Youth Commission to help make our community a better place. For the past year, I have been on the Youth Commission, and I have learned ways to achieve this goal. We have worked on projects like Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 campaign. With this, we have handed out decals to our residents so they could put it on their garbage bins. If I get reelected, I would like to expand on this project. I would like to place more decals around school areas to remind parents to be safe drivers when driving their children to school. Also, I have been working with Monic on the Civics for Kids, and I would love to expand on it next year if I am reelected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is that everybody? Okay. All righty. And so, first of all, I would like to thank all of the applicants and thank you for our commissioners from last year. I think we did a pretty good job on the ice cream social, so again, my appreciation for that. And I would like to now also ask our city clerk if we had any other written submissions. I thought I had seen a couple of emails of some people who couldn't make it tonight. Did we have any of those?
You got included in your packet. That would have been Savannah Lynn. Who's not able to make it. It should have been a part of your packet. There's an email from her.
Okay. I thought there was one more, but
McCoy, Kaivash, and Krusha, and I believe I didn't receive an email, but we do, McCoy, he applied but is not present.
Okay.
But I did not receive an email from him. Those are the
And
only
I'm
ones.
going to let the door open up real fast because I see somebody walking in.
But we do have a couple youth commissioners that, you should have all these
There's
applications. but-
Okay, so, hello, Caitlin. Guess what we did? We moved this all the way to the very first item. So you're just in time, and so we've asked all of the applicants to come up and introduce themselves. So before you even take a seat, why don't you come up and say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, hi, I'm Caitlin Calhoun. I want to join the Montecito Youth Commission because it can help me with management skills, and I want to help make my community a better place. I also feel that I have a very diverse and unique perspective on life. Last year, I've been on the Montecito Youth Commission before, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll choose me to be on the Montecito Youth Commission.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so do we have a suggestion on what a good procedure for this would be this year, or did you want us to make a recommendation?
So under the ordinance, each council member makes one appointment, and then the remaining 10 are at large. So each one of you could select your choice, and then we would work from the remaining to select the final 10, which you would do with a consensus.
Can we do this in a closed session?
No, you cannot.
I didn't think so. But I thought
It's gotten warm in here all of a sudden.
This is incredibly tough.
It sure is.
I hate, this is the worst part of the job up here.
So you could do it.
Wait till next month.
You could do. We could each pick your. You could pick your individual board member, and then you could, or commissioner, and then we could, on a piece of paper, you could write your top 10, and then we could go through and tabulate it. Just would be.
Can you try to spell half of these names? I couldn't even write half of the names on here.
Okay, so let me just go through the list again of everybody who showed up, and so we had Kusha, right? No. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Right. See, this is good luck on this one, Burton.
And then I'm sorry, I did not.
Arusha.
Okay, how do you spell your name? I was trying to coordinate the names as I was listening to you and listen to you at the same time. So we have Kavya, Arushi. Oh.
There you go. I wrote the
Thank
names,
you.
but I
Your list is much nicer than mine.
My penmanship too, right?
Your penmanship is. Okay, so just so we can remember who came up and spoke, Kavya and Arusha. Okay, Arushi. And then Christian. And then Alex, Manit, Emily, Ajay, Jesse, and Jessica, Paige, Ariana, Kate, and then Caitlin, and Savannah and McCoy sent in letters.
No, McCoy did not send in the letter.
Oh,
Savannah did. And Ivash. Savannah Lynn.
okay. So now that we all have, Marshall, how are you doing? Are you keeping up with us on this one?
I am. My question, one of the questions that I had, I was just waiting, is how many members do we currently have and how many applicants? So is there any reason not to expand the Youth Commission or to provide alternate positions and bring everybody on as alternates just so they can all attend meetings and all participate? Because it would be a sad day to say no to anyone.
So under our ordinance, we do specifically spell out the number of commissioners, and you may recall in the past we have increased that number. We don't provide for alternates. If we wanted to do that, we would need to amend the ordinance, unfortunately. But what you could do is indicate your interest in alternates, and then we could bring back an ordinance creating alternates, and in the meantime, those people could attend the meetings as members of the public. It would entail, technically, it would be about 60 days before it would be effective. But I don't think that they're meeting over the summer, so.
The only issue with that is we purposely moved this whole appointment process to this time period because the youth commissioners play a fairly large role in helping with the annual picnic. So the idea is, appointing them now allows us enough time to engage them in the process.
Right.
If we were to make amendments, it wouldn't give us the time.
Burton, just so you know, I can't hear Terry or Kirsten.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So part of the reason we moved the process to this date was to afford the council the opportunity to appoint the youth commissioners in a timely fashion so that they could assist with the community picnic. Because the way we did it before, they were appointed, too close to the date, so they really weren't able to help. If we were to make changes to the ordinance, that wouldn't be effective till at the earliest about the time of the picnic.
Okay. Councilmember Rogers.
Just a comment. Since we actually have 21 people that would like to do this, the couple that were late.
No, we have 18.
But you said there was a couple that came in past that wanted to do this also, so.
I had several calls, but they did not submit an application.
Because they were late. But my point is, I think what we need to do this year is be a little strict on people missing more than 2 meetings in a row to allow some of the people that didn't get on the commission to be allowed to get on the commission then.
Okay. I like that idea.
Okay.
Any other council member comments? Okay, Marshall, to answer your question about the number of returning commissioners, we have 9 returning commissioners that have submitted applications, which would leave us 6 new applicants to choose from if we decided to just bring in the existing commissioners.
Okay.
So my preference, it's actually spelled out that we all pick one, correct?
Sorry, I had forgotten. It used to be that, but in looking at the under 12.03.03, yes, each one of you appoints 1 member, and then the remainder are appointed by a majority.
Okay. Councilmember Rogers.
I'm sorry, but this is a hard one for me. We have 2 possibilities here with the 6 remaining, because it's hard for me to pick someone unless Max isn't here anymore. So, one is to consider not having the youngest ones start this year, which sounds discriminatory, and I'm sorry, but because they'll have many more chances to get on this. Or the other one is there was a couple people that their time commitment was the 2 to 3 hours, and where everybody else put 4 to 6 and 7 to 9 hours. So I would consider that would be 2 options of how we could eliminate a couple people. Mm-hmm. Just those are my thoughts.
Okay. I did not ask, and nobody really volunteered. Should we go and ask what grade everybody is in? Would you like to do that? Of all of the
we could. It was on there.
It was in there,
I
but
didn't write
probably
it down.
don't have them all on a table or anything.
No.
Can I have
Okay.
a register?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I
I
take
can make a
picture?
copy.
Can I take a picture of it? All right. So what I would like to do is we'll go through the way that the procedure is spelled out. We'll all pick one person. Okay. And then at that point, we'll then fill in the. Can we make a motion and say that we would like to have all of the existing commissioners to be reappointed. And then can we do that first, and then everybody can pick one? And then that way we'll, okay. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that the 9 existing members, and that would be Kusha Azim, McCoy Bucksteiner, Caitlin Calhoun, Paige Craig, Catherine Meckenchuk, sorry, Kavya. There's an, all right, Kavya Naren, Alex Nickel, Manat Spiritum, and Ariana Yamudi. I would like to have them appointed to the Youth Commission. Do I have a second? Oh, I probably need to. Are we going to do the voting system on this? Are we? Let me get back to the main screen. I did not have a motion button lit up yet.
I hit one. So
Someone already did it.
Pardon?
I said I hit the motion button.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I seconded it, unless you.
Oh, okay. So then, if we're ready to vote, I have the voting screen. Thank you so much. Okay. So Councilmember Anstanding.
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Anstanding votes yes.
So I have all the votes?
Please record the vote. Okay, so congratulations, existing Youth Commission members. We look forward to having you on for another term. And now, at this point, we have 6 members left to assign. Let me get back into the meeting here. Yes.
5 council members.
5 council members, so we'll pick 5 and then we'll vote on a majority for the last one.
Yep.
So everybody
How
pick
do
one.
we do that? How do we do that on the screen?
I think what we're going to do is write it down and then we'll make a motion and just approve that batch. Does that sound good? Okay. Councilmember Turner, we'll start with you first.
Oh,
Would
you
you like-
write it down or I say it out loud?
Do we just say it out loud?
Okay. Jesse Lou.
Okay, so let's put a star. Okay. Councilmember Wilsheimer?
Jessica Gordino.
Okay. Councilmember Anstanding?
Savannah Lynn.
Savannah Lynn? Okay.
No idea. How about the second person that spoke? What was your name again?
Arisha second.
Yes.
Arisha second.
Okay, and I would like to nominate Emily Needham. Okay, so can I have a motion to accept that batch?
No. You have a motion button? No.
Just make a motion.
Sure. I would like to move that Arisha and Emily and Jesse and Jessica and Savannah be considered for appointment to the Monte Sereno Youth Commission. I'm sorry, did I miss one?
No.
1, 2, 3,
I thought
4,
I
5.
seconded it. No?
No, this is the council appointment for everybody. And then to fill the last position, we're going to just pick from a majority.
Should it appear on this
Done?
screen? I don't see it.
Okay? No, we're doing it by voice.
Okay.
Oh, what
So
did you want us to say?
So I made a motion,
Okay, so I second?
so you're going to second that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So those were the council appointments. And now we have one left, and the people that are left on the list are let's see, we have Christian and Ajay. Where is Ajay? We have Ajay and the first name.
Could you find out if any of the people that are left are upper class people?
Sure. Christian, what grade are you in? 8th grade. And Ajay? 9th grade. And who else is here? I think that's it.
So it's one of those.
Yeah.
Should be 4 left.
No, we only had 18.
So we picked 9 plus 5 is 14. There should be 4 left to make it 18.
Never argue numbers with an
Right.
engineer.
I'm sorry. For some reason I was thinking 9 and 6, and we only had one. Sorry.
And
Thank you.
who's the last
Okay, so we have how many more appointments to make?
One more.
One more out of 4.
One more out of 4.
Right?
All right, so would you like to do this as a voice, or would everybody like to write down their choice, and I'll just tabulate the tab?
Who was the junior?
Who is the junior? No, Kristen's in 8th grade.
I know, but it's just, I wish we had 18, because this is horrible.
Okay.
Here's my.
Write it down.
Not to complicate it, but I think there's one other person that we didn't mention.
Good.
Sharvari Malati.
Grade.
I don't know. Do you know what grade?
Yep.
What grade?
Are you still there?
Yes.
Got
We're all-
one more person.
Yes, we did not mention.
And I advocated
Shavari.
for it to be the oldest person that's applied, so they can at least have 1 year covered on this.
Okay.
2 votes.
Okay. Marshall, we're actually writing names down on a piece of paper. I think Councilmember Rogers is going to write down a name, and then we'll just ask you to call one out.
All right.
What's the guy that's the junior? I'm the only one.
Okay. Marshall, would you like to call out a name?
Jay.
Okay, then that puts a J at the top of the list. Okay, so our last appointment will be a J Madala. And can I have a motion to accept that and a second? Okay.
So moved.
So moved?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Thank you all so much. Again, I'm sorry that the process was a little
Sorry
slower
for the
than we would have
confusion.
liked to have been, but again, I'm glad this was such a good problem for us tonight, because it's great to have you all here. Just to kind of give you a heads up, we do have a trip that is coming up this summer where the Youth Commission is invited to go with our local assembly member, Evan Lowe, where we go to Sacramento, and the Youth Commissions of Campbell, Monte Sereno, Los Gatos, Saratoga, and there's actually a Youth Commission in San Jose, and the 2 representatives who are on the west side of San Jose and Councilmember Lowe's district. We get a nice bus, and we all head up to Sacramento and spend a day with the legislature. It was a great trip last year, and we look forward to doing it again. So as soon as we get more details on that, we'll let everybody know. Okay? But this time we at least were able to move it early enough so that we think it won't interfere with the beginning of school like it did last year. But thank you all so much for coming tonight, and
Come
thank
back
you all
next
for
year,
applying.
please.
And if you didn't make it,
Really.
this is not a commission for just the commissioners to show up and do things on their own and make their own policies, their own procedures, to do their own projects. This is really for the youth of Monte Sereno, and everybody is invited. And if we do go out and do a community project, it's for the entire youth community. Everybody gets service hours. Everybody will get a letter that you'll be able to say that you participated in the youth commission. And I remember that a number of us who've made it to the council have done so by volunteering on committees. That, for example, Councilmember Wolsheimer was on a site and architecture committee, was on the cultural commission, and once you get in and you become more familiar and more people become familiar with you, then there'll be a better chance for you to get onto the youth commission next year. So thank you all very much. You're welcome. Bye-bye. You too. Okay. That now takes us back up to item number 8. So 18240 Bancroft Avenue, request for a site development permit and a variance request. And I think Jeannie will be handling the staff report on that one. I'm just going out on a wild guess here.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, it's my pleasure to be before you this evening. I'm presenting to you an application for a site development permit and associated variance. The larger project involves the construction of a new approximately 5,900 square foot home, and that square footage is inclusive of an attached garage, a covered patio, as well as some vaulted ceilings. The project also includes the conversion of the existing, one of the existing accessory structures to a pool cabana, as well as the modification of the original home situate on the site to be able to utilize that as an accessory dwelling unit. As I've discussed in the staff report, which I'm very confident that you've all read, the applicants propose to retain and preserve the existing home on the site, which is located in the northwest corner of the site, modify it to some extent so that it can meet the maximum size of an accessory dwelling unit for that zoning district, which is 1,200 square feet. But in order for it to remain in its current location, it would need a variance to the front setback for an accessory dwelling unit, which otherwise would require it to be in the rear half of the property. And currently, they're utilizing the Bancroft Avenue frontage as the front, so it would cause basically them to have to demolish the whole of that original home structure and construct a new accessory dwelling unit. It would still be able to be in the same alignment, but further back on the Ridgecrest frontage. So again, as I've discussed, the existing home in question was built in 1949, and I did include a couple small aerials in the staff report so you can see what the area was like before and then when it was built. It is reflective of the early, ranch-style construction during the, orchard and agricultural periods. The proposal will keep all of the original structure, and they'll finish it so that it's in the same finishes and colors, window design as the main structure, so that per the design guidelines, the two will kind of mimic each other to the best extent they can without completely modifying that original structure. So in staff's opinion, the existing location of the original home on the lot, the fact that it was built in 1949 and is, almost, is that 60 years old, 70 years old, and the fact that the subject site is a corner lot. Those are the special circumstances that are required to be able to make the findings to approve a variance. As to the new construction, the proposed home is a single-story home with slightly elevated central living area or grand living area. It's a contemporary design that'll blend with the mix of home styles in the up and down Bancroft and Ridgecrest neighborhoods. It does include the removal of 4 oak trees from the Bancroft frontage. They've really tried to minimize this to accommodate a narrow drive to a parking court that will facilitate cars being able to come off of Bancroft and not have to park on that frontage. They are leaving the remaining trees along the frontages both on Ridgecrest and Bancroft. This design is consistent with the city's design guidelines in both scale and compatibility, and with that, staff also recommends that City Council approve the site development permit as proposed, and if I didn't mention it previously, staff also recommends that you approve the requested variance, given the ability to make the required findings. So with that, I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Nope. Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward if they would like to present, or if there's a representative for the applicant who would like to come up and make a presentation.
So I don't know if you guys, are you guys seeing the house on there? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just tried to design, it's contemporary, but still have traditional feels to it, and create an estate there. We tried to work with the existing topography and the built environment that's there, so we're really trying to utilize the existing structures. There's basically 3 of them. The house that's there is built out bigger. We're removing part of it to get it back to 1,200 square feet. I think it's more in line with probably what the original house size was, and then there was some structure in between that house and the garage that were taken out. So and then there's a whole big section of the property that's empty right now, where we're designing the main house. So our intent was to keep the neighborhood there without changing the scale on the corner of the street. It's not a big house that's there, and we don't feel like there should be. And it just made sense, in that regard to do the layout. I later realized that there was I understand now why there's a reason for the variance, but our intent wasn't to vary from anything. It was just to do what made sense there. So hopefully, if you're seeing the plan, that translates to you. So the colors, I don't know where I brought the roofing. It's a dark charcoal roofing. If you haven't seen them yet, it's kind of an earth tone tan color stucco that we're using, and then the darker one we're just using on some of the smaller lintel pieces. That lighter tan is the main color that we would use on both houses. Yeah. If you really want to see it, there's a dark charcoal roofing. It's this color.
Okay. It's amazing how much I've learned about roofing since I've been on the council.
Well, they
all
said
the different colors and style.
I was told that we better bring this here. So
I drive that
you guys are really
presidential.
interested in seeing it.
Are you the owner of the house?
No, we're the designer.
Okay.
Yes. So we really just tried to work with the existing scale of the neighborhood, the built environment there, and do our house on the empty lot. So, I do hope you find it reasonable to accept the variance, because to me it doesn't, moving the house back or anything else doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. It's you're going to be either way. It's going to be on Ridgecrest or it's on Bancroft, and so anyways, I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Let's first go to our remote caller.
None.
No questions. Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, at this time, I'd like to open it up for public hearing. I have one speaker card. Come on up.
Mayor and council members and staff. I usually do this before the Site and Architecture Committee. However, I missed it on this particular property. My name is Solia Goodfriend, and I live across the street on corner of Halevale and Ridgecrest. I have no objections to what they want to do. It's their right. There is a potential problem, however, and that is that Ridgecrest is narrow. Hillvale, where I live, is a private road. We have to maintain it ourselves. And what has happened before with homes that are being remodeled or torn down and rebuilt on Ridgecrest, the trucks and the workmen have no place to go, really. So they use Hillvale as a nice little turnaround spot, or they park their big trucks there, and they wait for the little walkie-talkie call to continue on up Ridgecrest to do something. Or in the case of several years ago when the Oliver's house was being done, which is next to this property, the workmen, that particular lot, just before you get to the bridge on Ridgecrest, had no place for the workmen to go. So Hillvale was the place where all the construction trucks, all the workmen, they all parked on Hillvale. We had to repave the ruts, the potholes, etc. But beyond that, my sprinklers were broken. My little decorative little stone wall was always crashed down. The workmen, for some reason, loved to sit under my big oak tree and have lunch. Then afterwards, my gardeners had to go pick up their remains, their Coke cans, their cervezas, their taco wrappers, whatever. And I would appreciate it. Now, I realize that this property has the use of Bancroft, but Bancroft also is not that wide a street. And they do have a large lot, but at some point, they can't have all their construction trucks and equipment on that lot and still be able to move around. What in the past I've requested is that you put some kind of little stipulation in their building permit that they do not have any access to Hillvale.
Okay.
And that's my request.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Any questions?
Any questions for, okay, nope, thank you very much. Okay, bringing it back, I don't have any other speaker cards. Is there anybody else? Would you like to speak? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Linda Manry, and I live on Bancroft Avenue, and I share with Sally some concerns about the construction process that's be going on. Bancroft is a public street, so the city has to come around and repair any damage, but I can't tell you how many flat tires I've had from the sheetrock screws that get dropped in the process of these kind of constructions, and it's too late to call the city after your flats.
Right.
So I would really ask for whatever control that can be made on that. I also have a comment with regard to the oak trees. I'm really sorry that I wasn't here to speak to the Site and Architecture Committee, but the oak trees will be missed. I think they're significant in that stretch of Bancroft, and I don't actually know why the driveway had to be turned around from the Ridgecrest driveway. So I guess that's just my note.
Okay.
It's probably, I didn't see a variance for that, so maybe that has to, maybe that can be done without any variance.
I think that was all part of the site development, because part of the site development is a tree removal section, correct? And that was all submitted at the time of the construction, and it was.
And the change of driveway and change of address is all done at the same time? So the only thing under discussion here is the variance for the ADU.
Well, it's a site development, it's the granting of the site development permit itself and the variance. So we're going to discuss both of those.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be listening.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And if you could do us a favor, and when you get a chance, we have these blue cards over on the desk over there. If you could just fill one of those out, and so we can enter your comments into the public record. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would wish to speak? Okay, seeing none at this point, I'm going to bring it back to council, and we'll start with Councilmember Rogers.
I just have one question. Is there the possibility that they could sell one of the two houses as a separate?
No.
Can't hear you.
No, there's not the ability to.
I'm sorry, Marshall.
do a condo nor subdivide. And with an ADU, there's a requirement that the owner reside in one of the two residences on the site. So they do not have the ability to either create a condo out of one and sell it or subdivide the lot.
Okay, I thought that was the case. I was just double checking.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Anstanding, did you have any questions or comments?
No, I had none. I think the variance is well requested, and I would like to try to create some kind of carve out for the stipulation of the first speaker as far as traffic's concerned. But otherwise, I don't know. I think that could probably be handled by Rob, I would assume. But otherwise, I'm in favor. I have no questions.
Okay.
If staff, we have had two previous projects on Ridgecrest. In fact, the property just south of this subject site that has a site development permit approved, and then one right at the corner. And we have included, and I can do the same for this, a condition that they work to stage all of the construction vehicles and activity on the site as they go and as they begin to develop, move that staging on the site, because they are large properties. And Ridgecrest doesn't have any parking on it. And although Bancroft does, and there is some frontage there, again, the condition would be to encourage them to stage on the property and also to work with, I think that condition also said, reimburse the city for any damage to the public right-of-way that can be directly attributed to the construction activities, as well as work with the property owners should they find that any other private streets be impacted. But again, that would be up to, the the property owners and the individuals on the private streets.
Okay.
So we do have a standard condition related to that for those other two site development permits that were approved within the last year.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Councilmember Wilsheimer?
Yeah, I agree with the stipulations that the neighbor shouldn't be burdened overly with the construction. Is there a precedent of doing this in the form of a bond? I know other cities do that sometimes.
We typically haven't done it here.
Okay. Would that make sense to consider doing this in this case or in other future cases? Because it's hard to enforce this sometimes. There's a big truck. If somebody parks it there, what are you going to do about it?
Well, our mechanism...
They won't show up. Right?
Of course. The mechanism for enforcement, which is typical in many cities, is that they need final sign-off from building. So if we have conditions of approval that state, that they have to stage on site and that they have to repair any damage, they can't be finaled unless they meet all those conditions. So it's usually a fairly large incentive to do what's necessary to get to the end.
Okay. So if there is a violation, if somebody parks a huge cement truck somewhere, who do they call? Who do
they call us. Yes.
Rob?
Yeah. Well, when it's an active permit, they would work with the building official and me. And so we would make sure that, they're abiding by that condition. And if they're not, then we can hold back on finaling any permit.
Is there a way to communicate that with to the neighbors? What they should do if they see violations?
Well, I think there are a couple neighbors here that, if they do know it, we typically don't mail this out, but maybe word of mouth could, I don't.
I guess I like where Councilmember Wilsheimer is going with this, and I would not want to put the pressure on the neighbors to go off and rat on their fellow neighbors. Yeah, and I don't know if it's something that the city, I don't know if Rob could do this, where he could, just say, hey, there's going to be a big project that's going to be happening now over the next year or so. And if you see any problems going on with the construction, here's a list of of all of the conditions that this construction project needs to meet. And if you see any problems, here's my card, give me a call.
Yeah, this won't be conditioned on the building
Or
permit.
actually, it
It's
would
going to
be
be
code
the site
enforcement.
development permit, so it's really that one condition. So,
But-
I don't know, is there an alternative? The other thing is, even though we condition it, if someone were to park on the public right-of-way, do we have the ability to, restrict them from that?
Because it is a public street, so
Yeah.
technically anyone can park on a public street. But we could include conditions about the staging and those types of things on site. Those could be enforced, but we can't prevent individuals from parking on a public street. We could, the private street,
Right, what about for Hillsdale?
they could, but it would take the people living on that street to do that. We don't enforce on private streets.
Mhm.
So it'd be up
But
to
they
them.
could then, I guess really I just want them to know what this project is supposed to conform to in terms of construction, traffic, and what remedies do they have when they don't see the construction folks behaving properly?
Yeah,
to say-
and we can include that condition in the permit. I think that, and maybe code enforcement could speak better to this if we were to ask them, but I don't think our residents have a problem calling if there's an issue. So I would expect that if people some members are here tonight, they'll let their neighbors know, and I'm sure that we'll get calls if there's a problem.
Okay. Did all of your questions get addressed? Okay, Councilmember Turner?
No questions.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up a little bit more on where Councilmember Wilsheimer was going. If there is any damage done to Hillsdale, how would that be reported to us, and how would we assess any repairs that need to be done? How would we assess the amount that it would take to conduct repairs on that street?
So the typical standard condition is that they return the street to the condition it was in prior to construction. Some jurisdictions require the applicant to either take photographs or to videotape the condition of the roads in advance, and then there's a comparison that's done. I think typically the applicant does the work to repair the street. So in a private street situation, they would have to work with the private street owners. And depending on how those private streets are set up, it may require, if they have a road maintenance agreement, it may require a majority. I mean, it's not as easy as you might hope it could be. If it's on somebody's individual property, that's much easier. They would work directly with that property owner and repair the wall or whatever had been damaged. If it's their private street, it gets a little more complicated, but I'm sure that our building official can work it out.
Okay, thank you.
And we're really setting it up so that the applicant and property owner know that there's an expectation that they be a good neighbor before, during, and after construction. We're driving around all the time, so if the building official sees anything, if I see anything, we will make sure that we let the contractor know. And again, I do hear from residents a lot, and they're more than willing to, keep us up to date on what's going on so that we can be responsive to their needs.
Okay, great, thank you. How does that sound, Ms. Goodfriend?
It's fine as long as they don't make more we cleared all our potholes. And the problem was before, these very big trucks would come in and they do these little donut turns. This is the only place they can turn around there on Ridgecrest. Now they might pick on Bancroft. I'm not sure. Bancroft isn't as easy to turn around at the beginning as Ridgecrest is, because we widen up like this. And the macadam, whatever it is, the black stuff,
Right.
just gets torn up and we have all these big.
So it sounds like it would be a good idea to take pictures of the street before they get started on this project, and that way we'll have some pretty good evidence if we need to assess any damages for the homeowner to take care of. Okay, great. Did you have a question? I'm sorry. Your hand kind of went up a little bit, but.
Yeah, no, I don't mind responding. We may be what I want to let you know is we have a lot of experience lately. project as an issue. We have a lot more challenge in one pothole thing that you brought up is a real easy, quick pivot. Problem I see with taking pictures beforehand is probably 99%. But, you know.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
you're very attuned to what their needs are.
Whatever it is, and hopefully we're the ones building it.
Okay, so I think we're going to move this. Okay, so I think what I'd like to do is just finish this up, and I just wanted to address the other speaker's concern about the trees, but everything was in the site permit, and everything is okay in terms of the trees. The Site and Architecture Commission has taken a look at it. I think some of us have visited the job site, and we're all, again, we're always sad to see a tree go, but we know that other trees will come and replace it. So, correct? I mean, from what I saw of the landscaping
Oh, yeah, the
plan.
landscaping plan, again, they're really trying to minimize the removal of existing trees. And if you've been out to the site and you saw the red tags on the 4 trees and then the remaining trees that are going to stay, as well as additional trees that they're going to plant on the site. Again, I think this proposal works to minimize any impacts on the existing mature landscaping and will, once constructed, install additional landscaping in the form of trees, bushes, ground covers that will do nothing but further enhance the site.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, we need to make a series of findings, correct?
You do, but you actually have a resolution in your packet
Yes.
that you could use that makes those findings for you. So what you might want to do is someone could make a motion to approve that resolution with the following amendments, which would be to add a condition that they stage construction vehicles on the site to the extent possible and not stage the vehicles on Ridgecrest or Bancroft. And in addition, they repair any damage to public or private streets and private property.
Okay.
Private
So
street.
moved.
Private street.
Okay.
I have a motion already.
We have a motion already, Marshall. We
Okay.
have a motion and we have a second already.
Yes.
Okay, so at this point, Marshall, would you like to vote?
Aye.
Aye. And the rest of us are voting now.
I have all the votes already.
Can you record the vote, please? Okay, and the permit is granted, so thank you very much. And thank you all for the neighbors that come in, and we hope this turns out to be a great project. And please let us know if you do see anything that is amiss there. Okay. It passes 5-0, Marshall. Okay, so we are on item number 9, which is the Rose Andrews Lighting District Assessment Hearing. And I guess, Terry, you'll do the staff report on this one, or?
There is no staff report on this one. It's just what was contained within the packet. And
Okay, so then we just need a motion on the resolution overruling protest and ordering the improvements and confirming the diagram and assessments for fiscal year 2018, 2019.
And it is a public hearing, so you need to do
And
that
it is a
first.
public hearing.
Right.
Would anybody like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, we're going to bring it back to council. And at this point, would anybody like to make the motion to accept the resolution? I see a motion and I see a second. So,
Done this 6 years.
Marshall, would you like to vote first?
Aye.
Okay, great. Our voting screen is now coming up. And so please record the vote. And we have a 5-0, which takes us to item number 10, consideration of authorizing referendum arguments, rebuttals, and impartial analysis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. As the council is aware, back in June of 2017, the council voted to place a referendum on the ballot, which is questioning the rezoning and the general plan change for the property at the First Baptist Church. The property was, general plan designation was changed to allow a portion of the site to be used for multifamily. A referendum petition was circulated by the public. The petition qualified, and the matter was brought forward to the council. A majority of the council decided to put the matter on the ballot in November 6, 2018. At that time, we passed two resolutions. One was to place it on the ballot, and the other was to consolidate it with the regular general election. As we are getting closer to the election itself, there are two other issues that we need to address regarding that measure. I do want to say, however, there still is an opportunity to remove that item from the ballot if we were able to find another site for multifamily housing. The council can consider repealing the general plan amendment and the rezoning of that property, therefore eliminating the need for the ballot. So that is something that we will be considering potentially in August. And if we do, the decisions you're making tonight won't go into effect because the ballot measure won't be there. But in the event it is going forward and it is on the ballot in November, you need to decide if you want the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis, if you want the city council to submit an argument either for or against the ballot measure, and the third is whether or not you want to allow rebuttal arguments. So specifically on the impartial analysis, that would direct the city attorney to draft an impartial analysis on the ballot measure up to a maximum of 500 words. It's printed at the beginning of the argument, for or against. It does provide some context for the public. It is impartial, so it's neither for or against. So staff is recommending that you do include that and you provide that in the ballot. The next is the arguments for or against the ballot measure. Typically, in a situation like this where the legislative body has placed the matter on the ballot, the city council as a whole or individual members of the council will be authorized to submit an argument in favor of the ballot measure because the council is the one that asked it to be placed on the measure on the ballot. So we do have a resolution, and I'll walk you through it because it gives you some options. You do have the ability to, instead of doing an argument for the ballot measure, you could do an argument against the ballot measure. However, there's a question of whether or not that argument would be given priority over the people who circulated the referendum petition. And then finally, the rebuttal arguments. That basically gives each side one last opportunity to respond to the arguments made in for or against the ballot measure. And again, we are recommending that you authorize that as well. The arguments for and against the ballot measure will be due on August 14th, and the rebuttal arguments are due on August 21st. The costs associated with the arguments, the rebuttal, and the impartial analysis are included in the total cost of the ballot measure, which we've been told it is approximately $30,000. So staff is recommending that you approve the two resolutions authorizing the impartial analysis and an argument for the ballot measure. That would be one resolution. And the second is to allow rebuttal arguments. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Marshall, do you have any questions about this item?
No, I have no questions about it. I think I understand it, and I'm in favor of submitting a written statement in support of, it sounds opposite, but for the referendum, which means that we'd be affirming what the city council previously passed.
Okay. And so that would technically be a argument. So if we're trying to affirm what the city council has done, we're actually arguing against the referendum.
Yes, but for purposes of the ballot measure, if you look at the resolution, it gives you the ballot language, which now, of course, I'm missing. So the question that will be posed to the voters is, shall resolution number 3621, entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Montecito amending the Montecito General Plan to create a public residential multifamily land use designation and to amend the land use designation for that certain property," be adopted? So you're actually voting
to adopt it.
So you want to adopt it, so you're going to be voting in favor of it,
Yes.
which is against the referendum. So it's the opposite of what you
Okay.
would think it would be.
All right. Okay, thank you. Any other
I do
questions
have
for
a-
staff? So we'll start over on the right-hand side. Councilmember Turner?
Yeah, I have a question about spending this $32,000. At what point can we actually rescind the zoning of the church so that we don't really have to spend that $32,000 if need be?
That is August 7th, I believe.
Yeah, but that'll be decided in June.
No, so what will happen is you have a project that you will be considering in June, depending on the outcome of that. If you find another piece of property for multifamily housing, you could potentially, in August, we would have a meeting and you would consider repealing the general plan amendment. If you do that, if you repeal it, then we will notify the registrar and the item would be removed.
And we're doing it in August because we don't meet in July, correct?
That, and also we need to provide a period of time in which people could challenge any other zone changes or general plan amendments that you may approve after public hearing and public input.
How long do we, okay.
30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
Councilmember Wilsheimer?
If this ends up on the ballot, I would like to ask probably you that the wording is very clear what people are voting for or against. That this doesn't become one of those, do you want to vote for Putin not to become not president?
So it's actually you've already determined what that language is. You did it last June. We have it again in this resolution regarding the impartial analysis and the arguments. So that language has already been set. Okay. And it is actually, if you're just reading that language and you didn't live through it like we did, it's very clear. It just says, should this ordinance be adopted, which means the rezoning would take place. But the impartial analysis, if you vote to authorize that, will explain that.
But that in itself could be confusing already because the ordinance has been adopted already. It's about
well, it has been,
revoking.
but based on the referendum qualifying and being placed on the ballot, it actually is suspended. So it's technically not.
Okay. All right.
It requires a call. It requires a vote of the public, and that's the reason why it's written the way it is. It's odd. I agree. That's why it sounds like being in favor of it is in favor of changing the zoning. But I think it will be clear once we do a statement in support of what the council previously did, and those that rebut it.
Okay, Councilmember Turner?
Can we word it, for example, like, should the property of the First Baptist Church located at 17765 Daves Avenue be rezoned?
No. So the language has already been established. You've already determined what it's going to be, and we can't change it. Okay. So it is this language. So the way to make that clear for everyone will be an argument in favor of this, which will explain what it will do, and then also the argument, the impartial analysis, which will just explain the facts. This is, in 500 words or less, but it'll explain what the vote in favor would do, what a vote against would do.
Okay. And then, are there any other questions? Okay. And then my last question is, how do we pick who writes the arguments? How do you suggest we go about
So
doing
it takes
that?
3 of you. It would be a majority of the council. So I would ask. I would suggest you ask if anybody wants to volunteer to do it. The entire council, you can have it be from the entire council, or it could be from whoever is interested. Anything. I mean, it could be.
I'd like the volunteers. No, I'd like the volunteers.
Now, can we have part of the council do the for and part of the council do the against?
So you
we
only
have
do.
to pick a side.
You have to pick a side, and I would suggest that. So there are priorities in terms of who gets whose argument gets selected. Other people can submit arguments, but there's a priority under the elections code of what gets selected. Because the council voted to place this measure on the ballot, it would be unusual to vote against, to do an argument against it, because then if you did do an argument against it, why did you put it on the ballot to begin with? So you wouldn't have priority. So your argument may not be selected if another group were to submit an argument against it.
And who makes that selection?
Well, the city clerk does it based on the guidelines of the elections code.
Okay.
And it's going to happen.
And then who would we pick to do whatever we choose not to do?
Whatever you choose not to do. You don't pick any. So all you do tonight is you decide, is this council going to submit an argument in favor or against?
Okay.
And that's it. And then it's up to the public to decide if they want to try to submit something else.
Okay.
I would volunteer to write it. Or.
And I second him.
I third him.
What are we voting for?
What are we
Okay,
voting
so
on?
we are going to be voting on the side that the city council would like to address for the ballot measure. Are we going to create an argument for this particular ballot measure, or are we going to create an argument against this ballot measure? We can only pick one. And then if a group or a member of the public would like to do the other part of that, then they would then contact the city and say, we would like to submit an argument opposite of what you guys picked.
Against, right.
Do they have to pay for it?
We have to pay for that, correct?
So if they submit it, we have to pay for it.
We're already paying for it anyway.
Okay,
So
that's-
you're paying $30,000 whether there's arguments or not.
Okay, got it. That's.
So we do have a resolution in here, and it does provide options of the either in favor or against. I think the question is, number one, is it in favor or is it against? And then the second question is, who wants to sign on to it? And then the third question is, who wants to write it? And we could set up a subcommittee to write it. You could provide direction to one individual to write it. But the Brown Act does apply, so you couldn't have three people talking about what the ballot measure is going to say, or the
Okay.
argument, is going to say.
So then we vote on each item separately?
No, I think you want to, because it's all in one resolution, so I think you probably want to talk about each one and then get to a
All right,
motion.
All right, so then let's take point number one, which is, do we want to pick which side would we like to pick? And I'm going to start with Councilmember Rogers.
You
want to take yes or no?
The yes in
Okay,
favor of the.
so you pick the yes. Councilmember Anstanding? Marshall?
Sorry, had it on mute. Yes.
Which side, right now we're discussing which side we're going
Yes.
to argue for. So Marshall picks the yes. Councilmember Wilsheimer?
I picked the no.
You pick the no. And Councilmember Turner?
I picked the no.
You pick the no. Great. I pick yes. So we're going to argue for the yes part of it, which means, yes, we want them to keep it.
We want them to adopt it.
We want them to adopt this.
Right.
Okay? All right, so part two is who
signs it.
Who signs it.
So presumably they don't want to sign it because they want it to be against. So the three of you, all three of you can sign it.
Okay?
Two of you can sign it, one of you can sign it. It's
Okay, well, I volunteer to sign it.
I'm happy to sign it also.
Me too.
Okay, so we have three signatures. And then the last part of this was who would write it, and Marshall has volunteered.
I second Marshall.
And I will third Marshall.
And if you want, Marshall, if you want me to Brown Act with this, I would be happy to, unless of course you'd like to do it, Burton, but I'm happy to do it.
Great. Okay, that's fine. That's all right.
So then we're going to then vote on the resolution that is in the packet.
So it's in the packet, so I can make a suggested motion if you want. So the motion would be to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Montecito providing for written arguments regarding a city measure and directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis. The argument will be in favor. It will be signed by council members Rogers, Anstandig, and Mayor Craig. Councilmember Anstandig will prepare the argument with the help of Councilmember Rogers.
Perfect.
Okay. Councilmember Rogers, would you like to make that motion?
Someone already did.
I haven't made the motion.
Oh. Let me see. Hold on.
The button hasn't come up yet.
There it is.
Would you entertain a comment?
Yes, please.
Just a couple of things. I was glad that you brought up the point of trying to avoid this referendum and save the city some money. If that can be done, I sure hope you guys do it. You've got the La Hacienda now to satisfy the housing element. This has been such a contentious issue. I think you would do a lot to mend feelings within the city if you were able to avoid our having to have this referendum. Second thing is, I think your discussion here tonight was ample evidence of how obscure that ballot title is, and the confusion that will be generated by it. The confusion just in this room with all the people who know what was good, what was going on was obvious. And I would ask, I guess, the city attorney, if the council set that wording originally by a vote or whatever, why can't the council change it by a vote? And I would strongly encourage you to put a plain language title in there so that people know what they're voting on. And I think that will go a long way to evidence transparency and the goodwill of the council with the voters. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So just to address the one question, we've already submitted this, correct?
Yeah,
So,
it's actually spelled out by statute how the language is to be worded.
okay.
So, but we will clarify it. Obviously, the impartial analysis will make it clear, and presumably the argument in favor and the argument against will clarify it from different perspectives, but.
Yeah, correct. And then I think, as you mentioned, because we've gone both ways on this so many times, we've argued amongst ourselves, civilly, for and against this particular issue. I think maybe we're more confused than the public is. So, but I do agree with you that we need to have a very, very good impartial analysis and to really spell it out. And now we're allowed to actually then reference the names of the properties so that people know what we're talking about. We can say the Baptist Church in the analysis.
Right. And the city clerk, will give you there are some guidelines on what you can and can't say and rules about the argument, so the city clerk and I can work with you on
Right,
that.
and we can say a yes vote means that the zoning will occur on the Baptist Church. A no vote means it will not.
Right.
And at this point, we need to then pull the zoning, and we need to go and redo our general plan, and we need to come up with another site to be able to put multifamily on inside of the city limits.
Correct.
Assuming that the other project that we're currently evaluating doesn't make it through.
Correct.
Right.
Question, please.
Yes, Councilmember
Yes.
Turner.
Are we able to review the impartial analysis of the resolution
No, you're not.
before that?
Good question.
Yeah.
And I saw in the staff notes you were going to be the writer of that.
It's the city attorney that writes it, so.
Why are we
long as
not
I'm
able
still
to
here.
review it? Can you tell me why, please?
So it's supposed to be the impartial analysis based on the facts only, and because it's a political issue, it has to be, I can't get direction from some council members and not others, nor can I actually get direction because it's only supposed to be factual.
And so when will you release this impartial analysis?
It's
Are you going to give us
submitted-
time to take a look at it?
No, it'll be submitted to the city clerk. Do we have a deadline for that?
August 14th or something?
August?
Yeah. This may or may not be a moot point, all of this. We don't know, but it may or may not be a moot point. Yep.
Are we going to wait for Andrea, or should we continue?
Burton, I'm lost. Where are we?
I think we're about to take a vote.
Councilmember Turner asked a question about, will the council get a chance to look at the impartial analysis? And we will not get a chance to look at the impartial analysis. And the date that the impartial analysis is due is being looked up by Andrea right now so that we can answer Councilmember Turner's question.
All right.
What's the date?
It's due June 19th.
It's due June 19th.
Wow,
Okay.
you're earning your pay.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Really?
any other questions or comments? And we have a motion to accept did the motion button ever come up?
I made a motion.
You made a motion?
Yes.
I seconded
Okay, and Councilmember
Without a-
Anstany seconded it.
without a button.
And then we'll wait for our voting buttons.
Where this is going.
And Marshall, I'll let you know when our voting buttons show up and we'll let you cast your vote.
Thank you.
Okay, the voting buttons are up. Would
Yes.
you like to cast your vote? Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Anstany votes yes. All votes in, please record the vote. Okay, the motion passes 3-1 with one abstention. Okay?
Sorry, we have a second resolution. This is the resolution regarding the rebuttal arguments. And this would be, we're allowing rebuttal arguments for both sides, and it's not to exceed 300 words each. An interesting thing about this is, once you pass this resolution, this is not specific just to this ballot measure. It would be to all ballot measures going forward. So if at any time we have another ballot measure and we don't want rebuttals, we would repeal this. But the recommendation is that you do adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Montecito providing for the filing of rebuttal arguments for city measures submitted at municipal elections.
Okay. Is there any questions for staff? Okay. Any comments from members of the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back for a motion. So we have a resolution of the City Council for the City of Montecito providing for the filing of rebuttal arguments for the city measures submitted at municipal elections. And
I think I made a motion.
did you make a motion on that one?
I think so.
Okay, and we need a second.
Second by Mayor Craig.
Okay, great. And now we will wait for our voting boxes. Okay, everybody has voted. Marshall, would you like to cast your vote?
Yes.
Okay, Councilmember Anstany votes yes.
Wait, I just voted though before. What is it? I'm sorry, I had it on mute and there was a lot of noise behind me, so I didn't hear it. So can you say it again, please?
Sure. So we're voting on a resolution to allow the City Council to submit rebuttal arguments, and this particular resolution is good until we repeal it. So any future ballot measures that the city would be involved in, this resolution would stay in effect unless we were to repeal it.
Okay, yes, sorry, thank you.
Okay.
I have all votes in.
Okay, please record the vote. And we have 3 yes, 2 abstentions. Okay, so the motion passes. All right. Thank you very much. And we've already taken care of item 11, and now that takes us to committee commission reports. And we'll start with Councilmember Rogers.
Okay, I'll be brief. I've got 3 of them, well, 2. We had the first JPA for the West Valley Clean Water Commission, and that's the Los Gatos, it's Montecito, it's Saratoga, and it's Campbell. And the first order of business is to hire a director. This is actually a bigger organization than I thought, and they voted me the commissioner of the first JPA for the clean water, which I thought was kind of cool. And
Congratulations.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And then we had the solid waste and meeting, and we adopted new rates, which we do every year, and they're in the contract. It's nothing that we really discuss and go back on. And then lastly, Marshall Burton and I had all showed up at the gubernatorial debate, which I just wanted to mention because it was incredibly interesting, and I'm really glad we went, and I came out with some different viewpoints on who I want to vote for governor. So that's it. Quick.
Okay, thank
done.
you very much.
Sure.
Councilmember Anstanding, any commission reports?
No, I have none, or council comments. I'm going to put it on mute again.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
Councilmember Wolsheimer?
No meetings.
Okay, Councilmember Turner?
The West Valley Sanitation District, we voted to have a 6% raise in our garbage fee, and that's going to be for the next 3 years.
Garbage fees?
I'm sorry, sanitation. Did I say garbage?
May I?
Same thing.
I should be aware of.
Okay. Well, we all love to pay more money for stuff. Well, kind of a good news is we're paying less for electricity if you're a member of Silicon Valley Community Energy. But that's the main thing I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention is that on May the 3rd, the California Public Utilities Commission, our buddies called the CPUC, released a white paper entitled The California Customer Choice, an evaluation of regulatory framework options for an evolving electricity market. And this report is affectionately known as the Green Book. And essentially what it does is it calls into question the existing power market in California and the try to just, I can't sugarcoat it. These guys are basically using the energy crisis that we faced early in 2000 with what is happening now, and they're calling into question the viability of community choice aggregates to be able to provide a stable power source for California in the future. And it looks like that they're starting to use this to maybe stop the expansion of CCAs. And this report has already been circulated to members of both houses in the California state government. So they're already sowing the seed. And of course, the winners of this will be PG&E and Southern California Edison. And the CCAs, of course, are fighting back. And one of the things we've started with is a letter that the Silicon Valley Community Energy submitted to them today. But this is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on because it could have some serious repercussions. And I don't know. Well, there's just some serious politics going on in this industry, and you know, we just have to keep fighting for what we've accomplished so far. So, if anybody would like a copy of the letter, I have it.
I'd like to see that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll shoot it over to you. I have like a draft, so as soon as I get the absolute final letter, I will forward it on to everybody. Okay, and with that, we'll go with council member comments. We'll start on the right side this time. Council member Turner?
No comments.
Okay, council member Wolsheimer?
Yeah, I'd like to express my concern about some of the discussions that are going on next door. I know they probably fall under the First Amendment, so people can say whatever they say, but some of the claims are actually factually completely wrong, and people are just trying to promote their point of view by misquoting or making up facts. I'd just like to express my concern about that.
And we have to be very careful as council members, even if you read this stuff and you just
I'm staying away from it.
You just go.
You're
they're
absolutely
just
right,
making stuff
but
up.
it bothers me. It bothers me.
Yep. Council member Rogers?
I have no comments. but
Yes,
that-
council member Anstanding already said he didn't have any comments. Okay, no comments. All right, so I just have a couple of comments. One of them is, first of all, to thank our city clerk for the great job she's done with the Youth Commission this year and for a great ice cream social and another happy birthday for us. And she actually took the full load last week because Councilmember Rogers and I were at the gubernatorial debate. So thank you very much for handling all the little rascals and everything. And looks like you got a great team coming in next year. So I'm pretty excited about it. And then I too have been very concerned about the statements that I see going on with a couple of issues on Nextdoor, and it's like they pick out one word and then totally. I think a lot of things are misstated, as you've said, and hopefully we can continue to steer people to the webpage that staff has created, which I think is excellent, and will give people, I think, the true story. That is our impartial analysis, and
I gotta
we'll
work
see what
tomorrow.
happens. Okay, so I would like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all very much.
What about Terry?
Oh, I'm sorry. City manager's report.
Can't do the city manager has a report.
The only thing I really wanted to report was that we are moving forward with creating the web page and really getting the whole public outreach and communications effort to our citizens regarding the pavement management program. So we will be getting a schedule fairly soon from the contractor who was awarded the contract, and I'm working with the city engineer, and we're hoping to pin down a lot of the dates tomorrow and really get the website up, and we're working on our strategy to make sure that we keep the community and those particularly affected in the loop on as to what's going to be happening.
Thank you
That's
very
it.
much. All right, now I will adjourn the meeting. And thank you all very much. Signing off, Web World.
It passes. You're